And what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. The Smackdown after WrestleMania was just as bad, if not maybe even a little bit worse, than the Raw after WrestleManias. First of all, these empty arena shows in the wake of the crisis we all find ourselves sitting in the middle of, all by ourselves, most likely. These shows have just been lifeless, as we've said, and they are terrible to watch. They just suck the life right out of you from watching it yourself. And you know what? The WWE couldn't run a show with a full roster of superstars ready to go in a jam-packed arena to the rafters and get my attention and make a good show. So how could we possibly expect these shows to be anything more than the heaping pile of garbage each one of them proves themselves to be? And I'm tired of talking about it. But we're going to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Smackdown after WrestleMania review and reaction show. Let's do it. Blech.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Oh, but they're doing the best they can, Mr. Nightmare. They're trying so hard, Mr. Nightmare.
I don't want to hear any of that nonsense. I don't care. I don't care. If you are going to sit there and put together a show, a pre-recorded show that you can edit and you can add segments to, take segments away from, try to at least make things feel different from one week to the next. You should be able to do that when you label yourself an entertainment company and pride yourselves on bringing forth entertainment. Remember when Vince McMahon back in the day said, "Oh, we make movies here. We're entertainment." Oh my God, they couldn't entertain a clown in a room full of clowns that loved clowns. Because that's what the WWE is like. It's like a whole clown circus full of all these performers who are clowns themselves, who are at the mercy of the world's most evil clown, Mr. McManiac. And there's nothing they could do. Everybody's hands are tied because of the whole disease situation. And sure, you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to just be like, you know what, they did the best they could. But I can't do that. I can't do that because every single SmackDown feels exactly the same because the WWE just took the same 12 or 13 people that were willing to work under the certain conditions that we are all in and said, you know what, we'll just film a couple of segments. We'll make them seem mildly different from week to week, but essentially we're getting the same exact show from one week to the next. Case in point, the rematch for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, a WrestleMania rematch. Only days after WrestleMania. Remember when WWE said we ain't doing rematches no more? And sure, they were the former champions, but really, Asuka and Kairi Sane are property of Monday Night Raw. They lost the championships, they should just be on Raw. They shouldn't be on SmackDown, and if this is what they wanted to do with them, this should have been a segment filmed for Monday Night Raw. Only if you want to use your brain, if you want to use logic, that's how things should turn themselves about. Case in point number 2, Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This is the follow-up to Braun Strowman winning the Universal Championship at WrestleMania from Bill Oldberg, which was one of the biggest mistakes the WWE has ever done. And what do? Of course, Braun Strowman's going to be against Shinsuke Nakamura. Who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's going to win? Shinsuke wants to come out and ambush the champ. Braun Strowman's out there. He wants to get these hands up to raise the championship, and he wants to celebrate with the all-nobody that's in the arena, right? And then Shinsuke and Cesaro come out. They're representing Sami Zayn's little Zeitgeist Brigade, and Shinsuke wants to tell Braun Strowman, hey, last time we were all in the ring together, we ended up beating you. And now you're the Universal Champion, so we want to beat you again. But what do you think's going to happen? This is Shinsuke Nakamura. You think Vince McMahon gives a shit about Shinsuke Nakamura? Shinsuke Nakamura is going to lose to Braun Strowman. That's a given. That's a given. But what is the point? What is the point? Why not just have Braun Strowman out there delivering his promo, and then you could do what you wanted to do to end this show, which did have a little bit of positivity to it, only because I kind of understand where they were going. And it makes sense for Bray Wyatt to be targeting Braun Strowman as his next target, as he's been systematically taking out people from his past that have done him wrong. Braun Strowman clearly turned his back on the Wyatt family. This is not something Braun is going to get away with. This is not something Bray is going to let Braun Strowman ever forget. And it's a good story, and I like the drama, and I like the history between the two. But the WWE screwed this up by having Bray Wyatt lose to Bill Goldberg. Imagine how much more meaningful this whole entire thing would have been had The Fiend defeated Bill Goldberg. Actually, that match shouldn't have even existed. That match shouldn't have existed at all. The Fiend didn't have to fight anybody that night. But no, we had to do this whole thing so that we can coronate Roman Reigns once again, but that backfired right in the old man's face, didn't it? Roman Reigns hasn't been seen or heard from since prior to WrestleMania. But here we have The Fiend sacrificed to Bill Goldberg instead of running through Goldberg and then beating John Cena at WrestleMania, and then now targeting Braun Strowman. He's eliminated John Cena. He's gotten his revenge on Daniel Bryan. He's taken care of Seth Rollins. And now his next target is Braun Strowman, the biggest target he could go for. And as the champion, calling out all these people and systematically breaking them down would have been a much more fitting story for The Fiend. Not this road of redemption he suddenly finds himself on. You think a crowd of people are going to cheer on Braun Strowman over The Fiend when he's going to be given a rematch for the championship at some point? Hopefully there's people there. See how my brain just automatically assumes, well, what's the crowd reaction going to be like when Braun Strowman loses? There might not be a crowd there. So all of the point here is moot. But you understand, as a fan, as you're watching, you're not going to want to see Braun Strowman beat The Fiend. Everybody's going to be happy when The Fiend gets his championship back because the way the WWE screwed him over with Bill Goldberg. So what is the point of it all? Braun Strowman's going to end up being just worse than the Big Show. And I don't know how that's even possible. I don't know how it's possible. He didn't even have a decent run for a couple of years before they ruined this guy. What else did we have on this show that was worth your time? Nothing. Nothing. We had the follow-up to Otis and Mandy. But the follow-up wasn't really about Otis or Mandy. It was about Tucker and Ziggler. And a follow-up from a match we seen just 1 week ago. And you know what? I'm very impressed with Tucker. I think this was a good match for him with Dolph Ziggler. But it's being overshadowed by the bigger issue here. Dolph Ziggler came out with his new running buddy, Sonya Deville. We know there's no romantic link there. And they want to confront Mandy Rose. They want to talk to Mandy Rose. They're yelling at Graves and Cole at the announce desk. Everything they did for Mandy Rose. They were looking out for her best interests and yada, yada, yada. And then Tucker comes out. He shows pictures of Otis and Mandy having some good times on some date somewhere. And then he ends up in a repeat matchup with Dolph Ziggler. So that Dolph Ziggler can get a win back. Oh, big deal. Who cares? The story here is Otis and Mandy, right? And Otis got Mandy. So now that they're going to continue, who cares? Who cares about Dolph Ziggler being mad that he's been showing up? Who cares about Sonya Deville being upset that she now had her secret leaked to the world? Nobody cares about that story. We want to see more about what Otis and Mandy is all about. Obviously, Ziggler and Deville are not done getting in betwixt these two, but we'll have to see where that ends up. That was mildly better than what we had to put up with as far as the dirt sheet is concerned. And oh my God, can John Morrison's return probably go down as the most underutilized, most underwhelming return of a beloved WWE superstar that there ever was. This guy came back to be clown number 2 to The Miz. They're out there doing these cheesy 1990s rap vignettes. They got this hey, hey, ho, ho bullshit going on. And I'm sitting here screaming hell, hell, no, no every time I have to sit here and listen to this crap. Whoever wrote that whole entire thing should be fired. And if they came up with that on their own, whoever greenlit it should be fired. And if it was the old man, well, we already know that he needs to be fired anyway. But these are useless. These are cringe-worthy vignettes. They are not the Miz and Morrison of old. They remind me of when Shawn Michaels and Triple H came back to do that whole DX thing. And they were these two old dads, and they were trying to be cool, skirting the lines of being a little inappropriate, but not really, because Shawn was a born again, and he was hiding his eyes from the boobies. That's what they remind me of. It's the shadow of what they were. Both of these guys should be fighting each other right now. The Miz should have came back. Morrison should have came back. The Miz should have tried to latch on, and Morrison should have been like, screw you, bro. I'm here on my own. Time for Starship Pain to take off. Boom. Instant feud. WrestleMania. Miz versus Morrison. Implosion of the dirt sheet. Before it could even get restarted. Would have been more interesting than what we're getting right now. These ridiculous rap things. And I like a good rap song. This is bad. This is so bad that I don't even want to try to replicate it. It's awful. I'm trying to forget it over and over again. But I can't. I don't know the words, but it's in there. This was a waste of our time. And this was all to set up an intrusion by the Usos and the New Day, who would then announce to the world that there's going to be another matchup next week for the Tag Team Championships. I believe it's going to be another ladder match, and it's going to feature the other halves of the teams that were not involved at WrestleMania. So we're going to get Jimmy Uso, we're going to get Big E, and we're going to get The Miz. And the Tag Team Championships are going to be on the line again, and yet nobody is going to have to make a tag in order to win that matchup, which traditionally a ladder match, you don't have to tag to win the match anyway, but you understand what I'm saying. You can't have a Tag Team Championship matchup without tag teams in the match. Or at least you shouldn't, because they're gonna. They did it once already. And now they're going to do it again. And they think just because they're doing it with the other partners on the team that it's cool and different. And they had their chance. Now they... So what does that mean? If one of the other two teams wins instead of Miz and Morrison, doesn't that make them kind of like 1-1? Because one half of the team from Miz and Morrison won, and then another half of the team will have won this next matchup. So shouldn't there be like a third and final deciding fall? But they probably would screw that up too, and then end up having like the third team end up winning that one, and we have a 3-way tie for a championship for 2 people on one team. And this is the state of the WWE now. Confusing, crazy, and ridiculous. What else did we have? Oh, talking about trying to forget things, we had the Forgotten Sons debut. They were the NXT debut here tonight on the Smackdown after WrestleMania, and oh my God, talk about underwhelming. You think Morrison and The Miz have been underwhelming. Did you guys even remember the Forgotten Sons were on NXT? When was the last time they were even around or in a match? With a name like the Forgotten Sons, you'd think that's something they would strive to not be. But I forgot all about them as it was. They've been overshadowed by many teams down there. From the Broserweights to the grizzled young veterans to everybody in between. And those two teams that I just mentioned would have been a far superior call-up to SmackDown than the Forgotten Sons, even though they come with an extra added third wheel in Jackson Riker. And I just don't care. They show up and they have a matchup with the Lucha House Party, which last I checked, I was pretty sure they were on the other show, but I don't know, I might just be losing track. But getting a win over the Lucha House Party, is that impressive to you? No, it's not impressive. It doesn't impress me. It doesn't impress anybody. It doesn't even impress the Lucha House Party. They went in there knowing, oh yeah, you guys are going to beat us. Don't worry. Don't worry. But how long is it until the Forgotten Sons become the very next Viking Raider, Warrior Raider Raiders? or the next Altars of Piss. Not long, if you ask me. Because WWE cares not for their tag team division, so bringing up another tag team, while it would be beneficial because we don't have enough tag teams, how are they going to book them? Like the Street Profits? Because, hey, that went over well. We had Bayley, the SmackDown Women's Champion, in another segment with Tamina. Tamina comes out. She wants to say something that was absolutely ridiculous. And she gets this from her old man. God rest his soul. I love me some Jimmy Snuka, and his promos were legendary for being just off the wall and usually nonsensical and not being able to be put together. But Tamina comes out and she's like, listen, I wasn't beat at WrestleMania. But nobody won at WrestleMania. Like, she said something very confusing to the point where she was making it known that she was trying to say that they didn't pin her, that Bayley didn't beat me. But she said that I wasn't defeated. I wasn't defeated at WrestleMania. And then you guys beat me. Or something to that effect. I forget because it was yesterday and it's really not really worth remembering. But it's just, my God, man. She couldn't even get her line right. She's got her one moment in the sun and what she's saying is just absolutely terrible. I will say for this segment, I do enjoy that they are going the slow burn, I guess, with Sasha and Bayley. Because who wants to see Sasha versus Bayley for the championship in the current state that wrestling is in right now? So if they want to take their time and they want to have fun and they want to do things with a Tamina, I mean, they could have done it with somebody else, but I guess, Tamina was there. So, throw her out there. And she wants a shot at the championship once again because she wasn't defeated, even though she lost the match. She was not defeated at WrestleMania. I think that was what I was trying to say, even though I stumbled a little bit there. But Bayley is like, no, you're not going to have to fight me. You got to fight my best friend. And Sasha was just standing there kind of like, what? So they're kind of starting the dissension a little bit more between the role models. And Tamina's going to get another 5 minutes in the sun. So, good for her, I guess. Not good for us, but good for her. Before we get away from the women's stuff, let's talk about one other thing that happened on this night. After Bliss, Cross, Applesauce ended up retaining their championships, they were confronted backstage by a makeshift tag team of Carmella and good old Dick Lips herself, Dana Brooke. And I'm sitting here like, well, when did this happen? Wouldn't this have been an interesting thing for them to try to tell how these two came together? You have all this time to fill on TV. You have all of these girls together backstage. You couldn't have filmed something. You couldn't have had Carmella and Dana Brooke maybe outside the arena on their phones or some shit. Like attempt to make us think like, oh, well, no, these girls' tag teams are serious. They're not just throwing girls together. But apparently, they're just throwing girls together because we have Little Miss Flippity Flip Dick Lips Dana Brooke teaming up with Carmella. And none of that is money to me. If you're a longtime fan of the show, you know how much I love Dana Brooke. And Carmella, whatever. It is what it is. She could have got a better partner than Dana Brooke, if you ask me. But who wants to see Dana Brooke and Carmella versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross? Who's chomping at the bit for that one? I would have much rather seen Beth Phoenix and Natalya challenge for those championships next. At least they're a real team. They have history. They're real-life friends. Do we know if that's the case with these two? We'll never know. Because WWE, instead of being entertainment and filming a vignette and filming a segment to show on this 2 hours of TV they have, they just throw this out there. Boom! And now not only have they not had a match, not even one match, these girls want to take on the champs. Typical WWE. Sheamus showed up because why not, right? So what are we going to do with Sheamus tonight? We're not going to do anything interesting like maybe move him into consideration to be the first challenger for Braun Strowman, make something interesting out of that. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to have him go out there and we're going to have Sheamus, a former heavyweight champion, a former King of the Ring, continue to have squash matches. The one thing special about this match is it was against Cal Bloom. And if now that last name sounds familiar to you, that's because he is the son of Matt Bloom, the trainer in NXT. So a big night for the Bloom family, even though Cal went out there and just got his ass torn up by a quick bro kick from Sheamus. You gotta earn your stripes somewhere, kid. So I guess that's a good first foot in the door. Why not? Go out there and lose to Sheamus for us because we got no one else around, son.
Sure thing, Dad.
I don't know if that was how the conversation went down, but I imagine it was very similar to something like that. And I don't mean any disrespect to either one of them, but I'm so tired of seeing these matches with these guys, established superstars, former heavyweight champions. You got nothing better for them. You got Cesaro on the same show. You couldn't have Sheamus confronted by Cesaro. Maybe have them reignite their rivalry. Maybe Sheamus is mad that Nakamura is his partner now. Why did you leave me behind? What happened to the bar? Why are you hanging out with Sami Zayn? What's going on? No, we're not going to do anything interesting. We're going to have him go out and crush the shit out of Matt Bloom. I don't know why I'm saying it that way. It's just kind of coming out. Bloom. And then the show ended with Braun Strowman defeating Shinsuke Nakamura. What a surprise. What a freaking surprise. And then Bray Wyatt shows up on the screen. He makes a shocking challenge to Braun Strowman. He wants his Universal Championship back. And while this was interesting, the way they filmed it, the way they went about it, and the storyline that there is to be told, the problem is that Bray's not the champion. And that Bray lost to a 50-something-year-old man so that Vince McMahon could put the belt on somebody else who decided he didn't want to play in Vince's playground anymore because it was dirty and full of germs. And now here we are. WWE needs to find a way to put the belt back on Bray so that eventually Roman could be the one to slay the monster, which was the initial plan for WrestleMania the whole time before WWE decided to get cute with it and bring in the legend and all this other nonsense that we will never forget happened. So I take this with a grain of salt or a teaspoon of sugar, whatever it is that floats your boat, whatever makes it taste better for you. Some people are salt people, some people are sugar people. I actually like salty and sweet combined. Just a little insight on your boy right here. So that was tonight's SmackDown. That was it. There was nothing to it. There's going to be nothing to come of it. And who cares? Who cares? I don't understand how any of you could even stomach. I can barely stomach it. I'm the biggest wrestling guy that there is, but I can't stand these shows. Even AEW, all you AEW lovers out there, sure, they're doing a much better job. They're giving us more vignettes. They're filming things a lot more interestingly. They pepper the crowd in with a couple of guys here and there, which gives you a little bit of an ambiance, and that's all fine. But what reason do we have to invest in what's going on right now in any promotion until things get back to normal? Because without the fans in attendance, wrestling has no pulse, which means it's dead. It's a bunch of guys out there practicing for nobody. And ladies, obviously. So now that we got the review over with, let's do what I promised you guys I would do. Let's talk about the poll that we put up last night in lieu of this review, because I was too tired. I got out of work too late. I didn't want to have to sit here and talk about that crap. I just didn't want to do it. So I wanted to give myself some time, and then I went to work today, and of course I got out late, so we have to do what we got to do. I got to get it out to you guys. So here it is, and we are going to talk about the comments and everything from the poll that I put up there for you guys last night. So let's switch the screen over here. Let's get rid of this guy and let's talk about this for a second. Hey, yo, and what's up, gang? Poll question and comment contest. Now, since we didn't have an overwhelming amount, we'll probably be able to peruse through a majority of these comments, which I haven't actually had the chance to look at just yet. So we're going to look at them together here. Man, did tonight's SmackDown suck, as does pro wrestling in general. Time to let your hammers fly and leave a comment down below describing the SmackDown after WrestleMania the best you can. I certainly hope you guys did just that. The best ones, also known as my favorites, will be featured on the SmackDown review, which we're doing right now. So, the question was, obviously, let's open it up. Are you able to enjoy these empty arena shows being put on by all wrestling companies right now? And here you have your choices were no way, which was the obvious answer, which is why I put it on top. Yes, which got a whopping 1% because I guess some people can find enjoyment in anything. My favorite choice was this one I came home with. I prefer it this way because I'm a dumbass, which got 6%. 6%. Seriously? 6% of 82 votes right now in this poll. 6% of you think you're a dumbass or admit to being a dumbass. And I can't believe that is true. I just simply refuse to believe it. And I believe that you chose this option just to be a wise guy and just to be a funny guy. Like me. But, come on. How could you possibly prefer wrestling this way? Good God. You are a dumbass. Especially if you meant it. My goodness. And then the final one was somewhat, I guess I would leave one ambiguous answer in there for you guys. So let's go through some of these comments. The most popular comment right at the top. Let's get in here and talk about the C's 19871. And if I mispronounce anybody's names, you know, I'm sorry. But it is what it is. I don't know everything, alright? The C's says it sucks pretty damn bad. Just how does Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeat Asuka and Kairi Sane not once but twice? Us as true wrestling fans know damn well Asuka and Kairi are better talent, but of course it's the illogical booking of the WWE writers. And speaking of more illogical booking, what is it with these triple threat tag team matches, but it only has one guy from each team? Last time I checked, when there was only 3 wrestlers fighting in the ring, that's called a triple threat match. But the WWE, for some strange reason, is calling it a triple threat tag team match. But there's nobody to tag. Something that we talked about. That was something I mentioned. We were talking about the Miz and Morrison here tonight. I can go on, but I'll stop, says the C's. Oh, wait, the Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt feud, that's gonna be... And you see little sleepy face emojis right there, and I can't agree more. I can't agree more. I think the most entertaining thing about that feud is going to end up being Bray Wyatt's promos leading up to it, but is it going to be worth it? I don't know. And he's absolutely right. Asuka and Kairi Sane losing twice pretty much in the same week. I know it was pre-recorded and everything, but this is being presented to us in the same format, so we'd have to go by that. And if you think about it, they lost on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was at WrestleMania, and now here we are. Friday, losing a rematch to a team they shouldn't be losing to at all. Terrible. Let's go down a little bit. We got my buddy GQ James says, at this point, all wrestling promotions need to be canceled. I don't know. Canceled is a strong word. The word I think we're looking for, my friend, is postponed. Everything needs to be postponed right now. Fans are the lifeblood of all wrestling. Without fans, wrestling is a shell of its former self. We need fans back. Plain and simple. I couldn't agree more. You know what? I forgot to do it for the C's, but I'm going to like that live right here on air for you guys. I'm going to hit the love button too, showing you guys some love. So I hope you show me some love and do the same down below. Hit that like button and subscribe. GQ James, I like that, bro. Boom, we're going to hit the heart. And if I don't like or heart your comment, please don't bust my balls. We're not going to get through everything here. But we'll go to number 3. Braun Strowman versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt. I don't care to see that. Both of those characters are ruined. Suckdown has nothing good going at the moment. My buddy, All Elite, fantastic. I'm going to give you a like right there. I'm going to give you a big thumbs up because that's true. Absolutely true. It's something we said in the review and just before on the previous comment. Aaron Anderson. Boss. Calling me the boss. I like that. Boss. Please bring back the AEW reviews. Ooh, touchy subject. Touchy subject. WWE has just become unwatchable. Zero redeemability, incoherent storylines, boring announcers, titles that are completely meaningless, no bigger-than-life superstars. The set and production have become too big and too slick for a pro wrestling show, and the writers don't understand basic pro wrestling psychology. And with 50-plus wrestlers and 5+ hours of programming each week, why give us repetitive matches? And before I get trolled, I am not an AEW fanboy. I've been a WWF fan since I first saw Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik for his first WWF Championship belt. My boy Aaron coming back from my day, and I wanted to highlight that first part of this comment. Please bring back the AEW reviews. You guys, I love yous all so very much, but you guys have a life. Right? You understand what the demands of life is sometimes. And, you know, Wednesday and Thursday are really tough nights for me. I get home so freaking late. And by the time I get to watch the shows, sometimes I just don't have it in me. I promise to try my best to get in there and cover some of the bigger moments. But there are weeks where AEW and NXT are just going to be off the card. But other than that, I will always be here for your hammering of everybody's least favorite pro wrestling shows, Raw and SmackDown, which is usually more fun anyway. But Aaron is right. He also reiterated some of the things that I happen to have mentioned here. I mean, the WWE has more than enough wrestlers and more than enough programming at their fingertips, and all they do is give us the same shit over and over. They are completely devoid of wrestling psychology anymore, and they don't know how to book a pro wrestling show, and you couldn't be more right than that. You're getting a big like right there, my friend. Big thumbs up. Our friend Juan Ruiz, sometimes my brother. I mean, if they're straight wrestling, it sounds like a freaking porno movie from another room. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. I happen to have mentioned it, I think, on Wrestlemania. Half the time it just sounds like I'm watching Cinemax. And I feel like my wife's standing outside the door thinking I'm pounding off in here when I'm actually pounding my head with the hammer because wrestling sucks. One also says, but some of the things AEW is doing are entertaining, which is true. Love the Jericho Vanguard promo. Yeah, I mean, all of their stuff is good, you know, but when it gets to the wrestling, I can't feel it. It's not wrestling anymore. You know, it's like watching a variety show, which I can get behind. Brody Lee's stuff, Broken Matt Hardy, you know, it's all good stuff, Juan, but I just can't feel the vibe. I can't feel the vibe. I don't get it. A couple of more here before we wrap this up. How many more we got? We're going to do a couple of more here. And then we're going to sign off for the night because it's late enough as it is. Vic Redes, or Redis. I did like the way Braun responded to Bray, but would like to hear Bray explain why the Fiend lost to an old man. This is unforgivable, so stupid. Just for him to go after it again. Didn't have to change anything. Leave it like Nick said. Anyways, ran over. Good stuff, Mr. Vic. Absolutely. I didn't mind the interaction between Braun and Bray at the end, but after having lost to that old man with no explanation, no rhyme or reason given, just for them to have to put it back on him again, they wouldn't have had to change anything to begin with if they would have just left it. Good stuff, Vic. Phil James. Phil says, Nick, I don't see WWE getting good because Vince McMahon is now Vince Madman. Oh, that's a nice one, Vince Madman. I called him Vince McMadman earlier in this review. His XFL is canceled. He's in a pissed off mood, and I heard he's putting lives at risk, making Raw and SmackDown live every week. Wrestlers are mad as hell. From what I can tell, that is all true. From some of the stuff that I have read today, the XFL is not coming back this season, if at all. And he is, Vince McMahon, that is, apparently trying to push forward with live shows in some way, shape, or form, forcing his performers to interact with, travel people and, stewardesses and essential employees and things of that nature. That definitely increases their chances of being exposed. And I wouldn't be surprised if they are pretty mad at hell. And what I am surprised at is Vince McMahon being so persistent and just not doing the right thing here, man. Definitely not doing the right thing. Gotta agree with Phil. Definitely not a good week for Vince McMahon, but it hasn't been a good couple of weeks for any of us now, has it? So somebody needs to tell the old man to get over himself and stop doing damage to his roster. Let's scroll down just a little bit. Felicia, Sister Felicia Smart. I'm sorry, Nick. AEW got their ups and downs, but they got SmackDown beat. SmackDown's just lame, and it sucks, and it's boring. Yeah, you're absolutely right, sister. You're right. AEW puts on a better product. But the shows are still empty and dead. And they might be mildly more enjoyable to watch thanks to the storytelling and guys like Jake Roberts. But I just have no interest. It just doesn't feel like my show. And we'll end with the last one here. C. Kearns 011. Gonna wrap it up on this one. The only thing that sucks other than having fans is the straight, non-named people. I think you meant other than not having fans. Is the straight, non-named people that they are starting to show weekly. You're talking about the jobbers here. I certainly think that's what you're talking about here. There isn't much they can do because of the current state of the world, but at least stop giving us no-name person after no-name person for pointless storylines. Why not do at-home interviews or kill time? Something other than what they are giving us now. That's something that I happen to make mention of on a previous review. Let's go back to the main screen so you can see my face. Thank you guys all for your interactions here, and hope to do that again. Maybe I'll put up some more questions and we'll get your guys' opinions on this show as well, because I love talking to my sledgeheads, and this was kind of cool, and I enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. But Mr. Kearns, Mr. or Ms. C. Kearns, whatever you might happen to be, I don't disagree with you. I've said many times there's no need for them to even have anybody come to an arena or to the performance center. Everybody has an iPhone. Everybody has some sort of a smartphone where they can film their own stuff, get their own green screens, do things at home, make some interesting content, but they're not going to do anything good like that. They don't care about the safety. They're worried about the bottom line. They're worried about the bottom dollar. They're worried about their money. They can't make money with these guys working from home, apparently. They can't make money doing these shows in the state that they are anyway, but there are supposedly contractual obligations that have Vince McMahon quaking in his boots over the fact that he's not going to be getting paid if he don't start producing some live shows. But we'll have to see where that goes from here. And as far as them using the jobbers, man, we've been complaining about that on a weekly basis, I think, for like the last 3 years since we started here. We've seen Braun Strowman giving jobber after jobber after jobber after jobber before they did anything interesting with him. The same thing with Nia Jax. When they first brought her up, instead of making her dominant and scary, they just kept throwing her in the ring with these people nobody gave two shits about, and it just didn't do anything. They do it with tag teams. They're doing it with everybody, and they're just bringing in no-name people and what me and my brother used to call weenie guys. I don't want to see Hulk Hogan wrestle some weenie guy. You wanted to see Hulk Hogan wrestle Randy Savage, but that's what made pay-per-views so special. But now that those days are gone, nobody gives a shit about the weenie guys anymore. You think people would care about Barry Horowitz? You think people of this generation would care about an Iron Mike Sharp or these mid-level guys, a Brooklyn Brawler? No, they'd shit all over them, they'd tear them up, they'd attack them on Twitter, and these guys would quit. Probably leave the industry. So there's almost like no room for that stuff anymore. And when you're used to Monday Night Raw just being high-impact show after high-impact show, those days are way gone, and I'm tired of seeing them at all. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on another episode of the Smackdown Review. I wish things were more exciting, and I really, really hope things get back to normal really, really soon. I intended on this being a really short review, but because we did the comments and everything, we kind of went a little bit over. I want to thank you guys for indulging. If you enjoyed our little comments powwow, let me know if you want to see us do a little bit more of that. And don't forget to leave your comments down in the comments section below, because you just might pop up on a random episode of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Look at that, because that was cool. I dug it. So let me know if you did. If you are not already a member of this awesome family that I have accumulated over the course of the last 3 years, as we are heading into the summer and are about to close out year number 4 here on YouTube. If you are not already a Sledgehead, all you have to do right now, if you've sat here and listened to me ramble on for 41 minutes and you had a great time, hit that thumbs up, but more importantly, hit that subscribe button right now and become one of the coolest, newest faction members in the entire YouTube wrestling community, as we were going to try to make 2020 our year and make this like a big year here on the channel, but I don't think I want it to be. I think I want 2020 to come and go. Maybe 2021 will be the year of the hammer, because I don't want my year to coincide with the year that we are all currently trapped in right now. It's been a hell of a year. It's really kicked off with a bang, and it just hasn't stopped. And I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are staying healthy and staying home if you can. If you're like me and you're essential personnel and you're out there, do the best you can to stay safe. Stay 6 feet away from all of these clowns out there. Do the best you can to keep you and your loved ones nice and healthy, because that's what should be most important. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. Don't forget to do your part and share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they need to know what the hell is wrong with the state of professional wrestling nowadays. And once again, thank you all for being here. If you missed the review of the Raw after WrestleMania, that's up there. If you missed me bringing the hammer down on 2 nights of WrestleMania that were just absolutely painful to watch, you can watch that as well. Also, all of our AEW stuff and everything your wrestling heart desires. If you enjoy this content, you will enjoy all of that content. So go enjoy away, and don't forget to like everything that you watch. Definitely helps the channel. Share away. But the best thing you can do for me is subscribe. That, my friends, is going to do it. We're out of here. We will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom.